What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to MuviesHQ, your place for movie reviews. Here at MuviesHQ, we rank movies using a 5-category system looking at cast, plot, directing, production design, and sound. Take the average of all these categories to give the movie's overall score. This is a review show, so here's your spoiler warning. Today, I'm with Helen.
Hey!
And I'm Q, and today's movie is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So we've decided to do a Harry Potter marathon since we just watched Fantastic Beasts, Crimes of Grindelwald, and now we're going to do a Harry Potter marathon. So what we're trying to do in these movie reviews, we're going to try to look at these movies purely objectively, judge each movie by itself, but obviously it's kind of hard to do. We've seen them all before, but we're going to go. So this movie, Harry Potter and Sorcerer's Stone, directed by Chris Columbus. So Helen, first impressions of this movie.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Love it.
That's it? Just love it?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay.
It's not perfect.
Not perfect.
But when I was a kid, there are very few times I remember being swept up in a movie and getting that magical feeling. And coming out of the theater after this was one of those times. And I still feel that way each time I watch it. And I'm not saying it's a good movie, but for somebody who grew up reading those stories and wanting to be in the world in more a visual sense, this does the trick.
My first impressions of this movie, same. Whenever you deal with magic, or especially a book adaptation, especially something that's this magical, what people think of when they're reading a book, the visual world they make is usually a lot of times different from the adaptation they make. But I would say 90% of people when they see this movie are going to be pleased with what they put on the screen. So I was really happy with that, and I enjoyed the movie overall. So let's move right into our cast, right? So there's a bunch of characters in Harry Potter, and this is only the beginning. So, but we're going to try to focus on the trio, right? Harry, Ron, and Hermione. And we'll mention the side characters as we go along, too. So, what'd you think of Harry? Daniel Radcliffe, right?
Yes. So he's very Like, I was actually nervous when... So, also, to clarify for our avid listeners, are we rating this movie on this viewing or previous viewings?
Just a movie. Rate the movie.
Okay. So, I will say I was a little worried the first time I saw this movie because I was not positive if Daniel Radcliffe was going to hold his own. Same with Emma Watson as Hermione. I will say overall, by the end of the movie, I couldn't see anybody else as Harry Potter except Daniel Radcliffe.
End of this movie or end of the whole series?
This movie.
Okay, good.
So, being said, yes, I think he worked out, and I think he did a good job for a kid actor. I mean, yes, there's some stuff he can work on, but I believe he only did a few roles before this.
Before Harry Potter Sorcerer's Stone, he did David Copperfield and The Tailor of Panama. So 2 acting roles. I mean, yeah, he was a young kid at the time. I don't know exactly how old. Harry Potter's 11. Supposed to be 11 in the story, so assuming he's near there. Yeah, so the characters, this movie, we got to know them all. You get introduced to the world. I want to say you really get to know any character that well in this movie. You're just introduced to the Wizarding world, which is amazing, but you don't go real deep into anybody in this movie.
Yeah, there's no character arc or anything like that. It is strictly, hi, my name is Harry Potter. Hi, I'm Ron Weasley. Hi, I'm Hermione Granger. That's it.
That's it. Like, their friendship doesn't really build. It's just...
Well, it does.
It builds, but it's...
I would say it builds, but it starts.
It starts.
They all 3 connect.
Mm-hmm.
They create the trifecta.
Yes, they create the trifecta. But yeah, nothing's crazy. You meet Hagrid, you meet Snape, you meet Dumbledore, you meet McGonagall, Malfoy. This movie sets the stage. Which, for the first movie of obviously planned series, you can't blame them for that. So, what'd you give cast overall?
What were we going to talk about, Ron and Hermione a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ronald Weasley, played by Rupert Grint, is my favorite of the kid actors, and I think he definitely, his reactions are very believable. Like when he gets the never mind, that's the second movie. But just very genuine approach. I guess I would look at his his screen time. Hermione, Emma Watson, I feel like there's a bit more, like, you have to draw out her acting. It's kind of like she's in a home movie type of thing. But overall, I gave cast a 6.
So you gave cast a 6. I also gave cast a 6. They're child actors, staged to play some of the most iconic roles in fictional history. Can't expect much from kids that young. That being said, I would say Hermione was the weakest at all for me. And I would say that Harry didn't really do much either. So just the fact that it's a new world, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a muggle, or thinks he's a muggle, comes to the wizarding world, has no clue what's going on, so he's just in awe, just listening and taking it in. And that's why, like you said, I think Ron is the best actor too, because he's pretty much an exposition for Harry. He's explaining the whole way through. Oh, this is the train. Oh, this is my family. Oh, this is the magical world. Hey, what's this? Oh, that. He's the exposition of the movie, but it works smoothly and doesn't seem forced because he's your best friend and you see that relationship building. So I really like that about Ron. So I think he definitely takes the Best Child Actor award. As far as all the supporting characters, yes, they're there, and yes, we know them from the other movies, but we're trying to keep it in this one. And they really didn't get much. Snape's creepy, Dumbledore's mysterious, McGonagall's that teacher you don't want to mess around with, but you don't really get to meet anyone like you should. And even Quill, for the main villain of this movie, doesn't really do anything that much, kind of like a reveal at the end, but
yeah, wait, that's about it.
That's all you got. So I gave cast a 6 too. So let's bring it down to directing. So Chris Columbus. Now, I'll come right out the gate. I gave him a 10.
I gave him an 8.
Give him 8.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why I gave him a 10 is because I think what he did was so smoothly done that it's underrated. He had to create and show and dissect the wizarding world, a world that was beloved by millions, if not billions, and he had to figure out how to do it and make it believable, realistic, and give it to us in bite-sized pieces because all the book's not in there. He had to pick and choose what was going to be shown.
Most important, down the road.
Exactly, down the road too, and what to set up, how it should look. And he nailed it because a lot of things. I mean, we only watched the first one, but looking back in my mind to the other later movies, people don't stray far from what he set up as this world. So he set the tone for the Harry Potter series, a very high tone, and I think everyone's just trying to match it or be equal to it at this point. So I think just because of that, and that may be a little biased, actually I don't say it's biased because I was drawn into this movie as well, watching it again. He did something that's not easy to do, as we've seen with the DCEU and the Marvel Universe and these other movie franchises that have tried to make a universe. It's not easy. And you have to start off high and you have to make it good. And he did that with his directing.
I mean, you saying about the Marvel Universe and stuff, that's individual movies that come together. This is individual movies in the same world.
Yep.
The continuation of the story. So I agree with you. The only reason I gave him an 8 was because I think he could have worked more with the child actors. But everything else, if you took the cast away, because that is his job to direct the actors. Mm-hmm. If you took that away, I would say yes, I would give him a 10. Because you're right, he had to set the standard for the Wizarding World. He had to bring to life the Wizarding World, a world that I think in 2001, a lot of people had different visions of. And I think, of course, not everybody's going to be happy, but I think the general population was happy with the world. Enough that if you go to Universal Wizarding World of Harry Potter, it's taken almost straight from his vision.
Exactly. Okay, I agree with that. I'll secede to that. I won't argue too much about it. So I think we're on the same page there. He had the task of directing this, bringing the Wizarding World to us, and I think he nailed it. So let's go to production design. What'd you give production design?
I gave production design a 9. Actually, I gave it a 10 at first, and then I changed it to a 9, just because I don't want to say, oh, it's the best, but a 9 is a 10 for me, strictly speaking. It was also, it's just, there's so much to take it. I mean, watching the movie, it really does take you into a whole new world, and I think that's because of the set design. I think it's because of the production design, the art direction, everything like that falls into place. For example, when you open up the movie and the view of Hogwarts is at night, so you don't even know what it looks like really, and it's at night and it's just lit up by candles and they're in the lake and it's the movie poster shot. That to me was like, holy cow, it is starting. And they could have done that many different ways, but they chose to do it that way, and I love that. I love the fact that you understand how big Hogwarts is as a school, physically how big it is, and then how big it's going to become and how important it's going to become. Because again, yes, reading the books, you do know that, but you don't know from watching the movie if you haven't read the books. You're just like, oh, this is the school he's going to. Another example of where I think it comes in is the castle itself of Hogwarts. It just because there's not many places that you get attached to in movies. I can't think of anything in the Marvel Universe, for example, where you get attached to an actual physical place. But, well, maybe Thor's planet. What's that place
Asgard.
called? Asgard. But other than that, I just feel like, I know that, like, everything about that saying that Hogwarts is my home, that to me is home. I could tell you what's in Gryffindor's common room. I could tell you how many beds and how many four-poster beds and who sleeps where in a Harry's dorm room, because it's just, everything is set up from the get-go and they don't change it that much. So making that foundation is why I gave it that 9, because they had to make that foundation. And don't even, Diagon Alley, oh my word, we're seeing this movie through Harry's eyes, and I feel like Harry does. When I went to Hogwarts for the first time, I bawled my eyes out, as you saw from the pictures, Quentin. I bawled my eyes out because it was a dream come true. And that's how I get watching this movie and going into the Leaky Cauldron. And when those bricks part, my heart just swells.
You didn't give it a 10?
I didn't, and the only reason I didn't is because there's some changes that come later. Should I give it a 10 though?
You're supposed to rate off this movie.
I'll give it a 10. It just, those bricks part, and I remember, and it's one of my favorite scenes every time I watch the movie, is just going through very quickly, seeing what Harry's seeing for the first time. You see Hedwig off in the distance. You see the rats, you see the wand, you see Ollivanders, and all those things are, and it's not too outlandish. I will say, don't like the costume design in the first movie, because that to me is like, okay, witches wear hats, we get it. And they do steer away from that later on, but the fact that you just walk in and you just are completely immersed in a world that you dreamed about when you were a kid, and it's there in front of you, and everything is in its place, it's unbelievable. And there's added details that, again, I'm still picking up on when I go in and watch the movie.
I give it a 10, 100% with you. Everything, what I love is the details.
Yes.
So yes, you can make a magical world. Yes, you can make a magic store with wands, but it feels so lived in, and doesn't feel corny. It's not crammed with things.
Exactly, not with.
So yeah, the world feels very lived in. The fact that I walk into a store and I can tell that store's been around for hundreds of years. I can tell there's old magic. There's little tricks of the trade that, yes, Harry is wondered by, but people walk by it like it's someone kicking a receipt on the side of the street for us. The way it feels comfortable, the way history is there. You know so much has happened on these streets without them saying anything. And I think that's amazing. From every set piece, from Hogwarts looks like it's lived in. The magical, I like the scenes where they're setting up, like the staircases moving. What's the hall where they eat? Their dining area where they eat and they meet. The classrooms, herbology, defensive dark arts, everything looks like an actual classroom, because the classrooms aren't bare like that. They have little things that you know have happened over time. Very few movies, very few stories have that attention to detail that makes you feel like you were actually in a world where you feel like it's been there. It doesn't feel fake. You don't have to kind of suspend belief to remember. So some movies you watch, you're like, that will never really happen, but okay, I'll go for it. I'm watching a movie. But this, as much as magic is not real, as much as this is clearly couldn't happen, you completely fall victim to this program. And I think it's because of the production design, because just the world they create through the details and everything they do, you can't touch it. So I gave it a 10.
And I would like to add that the line that you just said about just know it's lived in and there's magic there without them throwing in your face. Because again, you don't know the world yet. So you're slowly figuring things out. But I will say they also do a very good job of not crossing that line between cheesy and unbelievable. Right now, it's, as you said, the pictures are moving, but they're not moving too much. They're moving enough that that's a person in a picture. They're traveling across the school because that's their home. Again, with the staircases, they're just moving left to right. So it's not like they're going crazy and acting like elevators. So I think they kept it in the sense of I think they kept reality in mind when they made this world. And I think they just sprinkled magic in there. And I know I just feel that way. And yes, it is a great whole.
So under sound, what'd you give sound?
A 10.
10? Really?
That score, coming again, and music to me, I do not connect to movie scores that often, but every single time I hear bum, 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 my heart skips a beat.
That's a condition. I'll get it looked at.
Yeah, it's called loving Harry Potter too much. And it's just... I just love the music. Again, you get a sense of magical. It's very organic. You can kind of see it having a place in that world. It's as if a wizard directed it or composed it almost. Like someone from that world knew, okay, this is what they would be listening to. This is what they want to hear. It's not about the audience, in my personal opinion. It's also more than a score. It is a theme. And this theme is going to carry us through 8 movies. Or 7 other movies, 8 movies, including the first. And then it's going to continue to be on Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find You. But that being said, there's something very hidden in the song. It's kind of like, da, 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 da. You're like, okay, I see what you're doing there, but there's more to be told. And then it builds later. So that's why I like it. And I just love the score as a whole. It was also nominated for an Oscar. I did not know that until I looked it up.
So I give sound an 8. So you look at me weird because of that. So yes, the Harry Potter theme. And a lot of these songs will forever be iconic. You hear that theme, you always know it. Same with 007, same with Rocky. They all have those iconic themes, right? So why didn't I give it a 10? Not as of yet. I feel like I'm going to give a 10 to one of them later. Sound effects or the spells. So this is sound, right? So it's not 100% score. So the same way you kind of brought it down in an earlier category. Directing, you thought that the child actors, the director should have brought more out of the child actors. I think they haven't figured out the sound of the magic yet. Everything that was my biggest critique. But again, the score is iconic. It's gonna carry us through the rest of the movies, like you said. But I don't think they've completely found exactly what they want magic to sound like, if that makes sense, in this one. Again, he had to set a standard.
You mean with?
Like the spell casting and like different things. Everything kind of sounded like a swoosh, like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. That's fine. But I remember kind of crossing movies, but kind of like Rocky and the fighting scenes, different fight scenes. There's certain sound effects that happen in certain fight scenes that actually make you feel like you're getting hit. So sometimes when you watch a movie, you're like in an action scene and you're like, oh, doo, 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 like punches being thrown, you hear like a bone crack and you're like, like that hurt me. I didn't feel that I was casting that spell. I was doing that thing, or didn't feel as organic all the time. So they haven't hit it yet. They hit it later. I know they do because I remember watching it and being engaged in a battle. And maybe it's because they're still basic magic. Maybe that's what it is.
I think it is.
Because they're at the beginning stage. They're first year students.
And the thing is, they're also, I don't know, so I will disagree with you because, not even disagree, I'll question what you mean, because to me, the sounds that the spells make, they're not directed at people. So like Alohomora, I felt that was very well done. I thought hearing the lock unlock that did a job. That
That
told
one was
you.
fine. It was other ones, like other things that just one. I think it just might be. I might be a little biased of what I know from later movies, but I just remember being in like hearing the spells and just being like, "Whoa, like that's magic," and that's why I gave it an 8. I can disagree. It's fine.
No, I really wanted to understand more.
Gotcha. No, it's a feeling. I can't really.
Okay.
The feeling. I mean, what is magic, right? Like we can't really define magic, but there's
It's different
this,
to everybody.
exactly, and I wasn't completely on the magic train for this one. Like the world was built, but
You mean you weren't on the Hogwarts Express?
I wasn't on the Hogwarts Express, not fully. I missed it. So best scenes of this movie.
We didn't do plot.
Skip plot? Oh, well, let's go to plot.
So I gave plot an 8. I think, again, being the first movie, you really do have to pick apart any media that you're getting your screenplay from and say, okay, this I need because it's going to build. I mean, I'm going to need this later in the series, or this is important so that it explains something for the future. And I think they did that. Personally, I really feel like they could have gone maybe one step further with the plot and showed a little bit more of the Dursleys and how they treated Harry. I would have liked to see that, just because you obviously know, okay, they hate him. But at the same time, they also raised him. They did not have to raise him. They did not have to take him in. So I kind of wish they showed that more. And I also wish they showed Aunt Petunia being a little bit more jealous than her just explaining how her sister was a wizard and she wasn't. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. It ended a bit abruptly for me, but that's okay. If I was a Slytherin, I'd be PO'd. But overall, they did an extremely well job. Extremely well job. Well done. An extremely good job.
I give plot a 9.
Okay.
So it's going off the books. The plot's there. The books are very well done. The information's there. Everything's there. But the fact that they skimmed it and took all the meat and potatoes of it, like you said, I want to know more about the Dursleys. As someone who has not read all the books, and someone just enjoys the movies, I don't care about the Dursleys.
That's true.
So, yeah, if I saw more Dursleys, I would not be. It'll be more of a negative effect than a positive effect.
You think?
From a movie going standpoint, like you want to know that relationship because you're thinking books. Like you grew up with the books, so you know all the details and everything. From a movie going standpoint, the beginning it's not necessarily slow, but I know at the beginning I remember. Like, you got the letter, okay, he's a wizard, he's going to go to Hogwarts. And the guy, Mr. Dursley throws it away and rips it up, and you're like, okay.
Uncle Dursley?
Whatever, Mr. Dursley, Uncle Dursley.
Uncle Vernon, sorry.
I don't know. That guy. He throws it away, and we spend about the next, 5 to 7, maybe 10 minutes of just seeing letters come and him not getting it. For someone who...
But yeah.
Okay, no. This isn't the book review. For someone that's just watching a movie, I want to get to Hogwarts.
No, I was just saying I get so annoyed with Harry because he could take one and put it in the cupboard under the stairs and open it there. I mean, then he wouldn't really know what it meant. But anyway, I just had to get that out of the way.
Yeah, I don't... The second I saw that letter, I'm like, okay, when's he getting to Hogwarts? That's all I was thinking. Like, okay, when's he going? Okay, a billion are flooding in. Okay, still can't get any of these? Okay, wow, okay. They go somewhere else. Then Hagrid finally comes.
So were you growing... would you say it was a bit repetitive for you?
I want to say it was repetitive, but going back and looking at it, I'm going through these movies. I watched these movies when I was a kid. Now I'm trying to watch them again, and I'm trying to remember the greatest hits. Like what made me, what was impactful. So him talking to the snake on the little field trip or the visit they did, I completely forgot about that. And that is foreshadowing so much in a little scene. And I didn't really understand it at the time, so that was very well done because you go back, oh man, all this foreshadowing, what's to come. But as far as just they treat me bad and I don't know what this letter is, get it away. Yeah, I just remember thinking, when is he going to Hogwarts? Because I know what's happening. So there was that. So yeah, I gave it a 9. Besides that, they skimmed everything they needed to skim. I feel like they hit all the plot threads that I want to know about, and I was happy with it. So Nah.
So,
Favorite scenes, best scenes, what you got?
okay. So, my favorite scene is when they enter the leaky cauldron, and I think Harry starts to understand, oh, unknown. This me. Hello. And then when he sees Diagon Alley for the first time, when the bricks move apart again, I've talked about that a billion times in this podcast, but I truly love that scene because I felt the same. Another favorite scene is when he gets his invisibility cloak. I like that. And when he has the heart-to-heart with Dumbledore, the last scene, one of the last scenes where he has the heart-to-heart with Dumbledore in the hospital. Yeah, after the whole Voldemort experience. I just think that scene that was just the Dumbledore we needed. And of course he passed away, so they couldn't use him anymore. But later in the series. But that to me, just that scene, just between him saying, your mother's love saved you, to then taking a flavored bean, be like, alas, earwax. Like, it's just very Dumbledore-ish. So I love that scene.
So I had two scenes I really liked. One, I like 9 3/4. So Hagrid came, so your Wizard Harry, all that, right? So that's really iconic. But 9 3/4 is when you first find out this is a strange, different world. The fact that you just see people start going through the platform, and the second you go from the real world to the Wizarding world, it's completely different. Just the colors and the train and the Hogwarts Express. So that the same way as a viewer, you're with Harry, you're like, oh wow, I'm in somewhere completely different. So I like that. Another scene I really liked was, I don't know the name of that mirror. I know as a Harry Potter fan, you'll know what's that mirror. What sees your deepest desire or whatever. The mirror that sees the mirror of Ezra's. So when Harry finds that, he looks at and he sees his parents and basically becomes obsessed with it. And then Dumbledore comes and talks to him. And that's the first time you really get to engage with Dumbledore. And so that's nice to see his kind of introduction. I guess you saw him in the Great Hall, but that was him coming at Harry, realizing he's always going to... So in the audience, you feel like Dumbledore's going to have his back, be watching over him after that point, because he gives him that wisdom. Like, men have gone crazy looking at this mirror, and I need to make sure that you never touch this again. And also it's foreshadowing again to the end of the movie. So I love the foreshadowing in the series. Going through a rewatch, it's pretty amazing how much they give you to what's going to happen down the road in this original movie. So those two scenes really stuck out to me. Honestly, didn't really like. Well, we can go into worse scenes now. So I didn't really like the end.
Why not?
Both parts of the end. The whole you defeated the bad guy because of love, and just very for me. To see everyone else conquer their task, or learning the mystery of Fluffy, how to put him to sleep. Hermione figuring out, we learned this in herbology, stay still, you'll be fine. Ron defeating the chess master. Harry getting on the broom and finding the key. Like, using their powers, working together to defeat the bad guy. And then, you've been talking about Voldemort this whole time.
The mirror, did you get the mirror corrected name?
Oh, what is it? Ezra, okay. But then to come at the end and you see the bad guy, Professor Quill, the reveal, the teacher, he's supposed to be a good guy, Voldemort. My skin is poisonous. And then they explain it, and then, it was kind of jarring that they explain it right there. Dumbledore explains it later, but I know it's a theme in the Harry Potter movies that love is the most powerful magic, right? So, okay, that's the world, but I don't like my main character to beat it. Love the Wizarding World, love building everything, love the trials I went through, and for it to come to a climax like that was very underwhelming for me. And then also, I didn't like the very end where Dumbledore just stacks the points for Gryffindor out of nowhere, especially after giving the House Cup points to Slytherin and be like, psych! And he's a Gryffindor. That's a bad look. That's clear favoritism. Maybe give him second, boost him up there in fourth place right at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Maybe give him second. Don't make it first, but it's a happy ending for us. But if you really look
I'm a
back
Hufflepuff, so Hufflepuffs never win.
Hufflepuff. Well, yeah. So yeah, if you look at it that way, I'm like, oh man, like it didn't need to happen. Ron and Hermione could have got a good attaboy. You saved Hogwarts, thank you. It didn't need to okey doke Slytherin like that. Those are my 2 complaints of the movie.
You know what he did?
What did he do?
He risked it for the biscuit.
I'm cutting that out. What are your worst scenes?
My worst scene, probably that one. The house cup. It's kind of like, wow. I'm not a Slytherin, and I definitely am not. I don't like Slytherin, but he was stretching a little bit. So that's my worst.
And especially to give Neville those 10 points to stand up to your friends, like, come on.
No, it is harder to.
Okay,
it's hard
it is.
to stand up to
but
your
for having
enemies,
to
but
win,
it's even harder to stand up to your friends.
Maybe have
Sit
them.
down.
Oh no!
Sit down.
No. Maybe have them tied.
No,
but to have them win off of that.
No, sit down.
So no one else in the
What?
whole
So
Hogwarts
they
ever
would
stepped
what?
to the friends.
But if they tied, what would they do with the colors?
But they also didn't lose any points for breaking all those rules.
Shakalaka, baby, that's the way it goes.
It's just BS. For if I'm not a Gryffindor, that's BS all across the board. Like Harry and his friends can do whatever they want. Like yeah, okay, they did whatever, but they clearly were breaking so many rules. No expulsions, no nothing, whatever.
You're also talking about the school that they never have final exams, so
they had finals.
Well, they always are canceled somehow.
They have them. There's a line about it. Now the next movie they don't have them.
But Harry never had them. He was in the hospital wing.
Yeah, whatever. Harry does what he wants. Anyway, all right. So, what'd you give this movie overall?
Overall, I gave it an 8.4. I love this movie. I really think just the acting brought it down. Again, it's not necessarily bad, but I just thought maybe they could have pushed them to do a little better.
Yeah, I gave it 8.6. I like the movie. It started it all. So it builds a Wizarding World. It does its job. Character development and the villain, as of right now, wasn't anything to grab my attention, but to bring people who have never been into this world with this movie, it did that and some. So I enjoyed this movie. Any other final thoughts, Helen?
No. I would say, when are we going to Harry Potter World?
No final thoughts. Got it.
That was a final thought question thing. Don't crop it out.
I'll crop it out.
Don't.
Yes.
It's cut it out, not crop it.
Whatever. See, now I'm cutting all this out. Well, I don't have anything. So we have 1 movie down, 7 more to go. So stay tuned to MuviesHQ. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us here at MuviesHQ. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Help us grow as a show. Remember, we aren't critics and we aren't experts. We're just a couple that loves movies. This is MuviesHQ signing off.